Gemini, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for early to mid-February 2025. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we can dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Geminis. I hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do we got for Gemini gang here? In Aquarius season, what energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card, then we'll get into the full reading itself. At the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot, just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Gemini gang. What is the vibe? What is the energy going on for my good friends? And yeah, it's been intense the last couple weeks for your readings, that's for sure. So we're going to see if that continues. What do we have here? We'll talk about that more in a little bit. Let's get this first card out. There it is. Thank you very much. Okay. And we have the Magician here, and this can be a very good card. It does have some differences to the Magician in the tarot deck because there are certain aspects of this that are illusionary, where it's like, hey, look at this hand while the other hand's doing something else. So there's a different flavor to this card, but it can also be about magnetism and attracting things and making stuff happen. Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the February subscriber surprise towards then, so you might want to check that out. Also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, into the reading. Let's talk a little bit more about this Magician. So as I mentioned, this deck is not a tarot deck, it's an oracle, but this Magician is here in pretty clear form, right? We see him there, he's doing some magic tricks. He's doing some spells like, ooh, check me out. Now, again, this could be about manifesting. It could represent spirituality and ritual and all that good stuff. So for a lot of Geminis, maybe you're putting some energy into that, into your own spiritual practices and studies. That would be a good thing with this card. But there's a magnetism here. This card draws things to it. It doesn't chase them down. It makes stuff happen. And it manifests in a big way. So just know in this time for the Gemini collective, your power of creation is extra heightened. You can make a lot of things happen, believe it or not, when this card is here. But I already mentioned there's a little bit of a caution with this card as well, because the illusion, the tricks. So whether there's situations you're dealing with where there's unknowns, like, oh, how's this going to go? Or what's happening behind the scenes? It's like taking a peek under the cover when this card is here. But yeah, just watch certain individuals that they're not trying to draw your attention here while there's other stuff going on elsewhere. Okay, so we're just going to put it down right there. And yeah, let's get into tarot. And I always say the first card here doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for my Gemini friends. What is happening? And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. So as I mentioned, there's been a very fiery, intense type of energy the last few weeks, at least moving towards Gemini. Last week's reading was titled Explosive Action Incoming, and it felt like one thing after another, like this train has no brakes. So it was very fiery and hot and heavy in the way the energy was moving, which can be unpredictable. So we're going to see what shows up for you this week. That energy we saw last week can bleed over for a couple weeks. But as you know, energy is very fluid. It's never set in stone, so only take this how it hits for you. Because we could be seeing your vibe or somebody else's, right? Let's get it going. 3 cards for my Gemini friends. What do we have? Please. There we go. Card number 1. Okay, 9 of Pentacles. Cool. So maybe there is some stability coming in with this card. I do like the 9 of Pentacles. It's usually a card of good results. But we will see. Maybe we are getting the shift in energy that we were hoping for, right? Let's get a couple more. What do we have here for Gemini, please? In early to mid-February. Deck is being very specific for you this week. Usually the Gemini cards come out like one after another after another. Okay, there's one of your power cards right there. We got the beautiful Queen of Swords chilling right there in the center. So we're going to want to check her out and see what the deal is. There's an intensity to her as well. Let's get one more. What do we have here for Gemini, please? Thank you. All right, so we have the opposite energy of what we have in the front. We have the Chariot right here on the back end, this energy. Like I said, this train has no brakes. So it's interesting how the energy plays. And I know Gemini, you're the twins of the zodiac, right? And it's kind of interesting. It's like we have a yin yang type of energy here, where it's like very solid, very stable, but then go, 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 go. So let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes. Then we'll get into that juicy intuitive stuff. But at first glance, elementally, and I always look at the elements first because that tells us how the energy is moving. It's mixed, and which again could be separate situations. It could be different aspects of the same thing, but we do have earth, we have air, and we have water chilling right here. Now, one of them you are very, very comfortable with, which is in the center, with the earth, with the water. That could sometimes be a little muddy for Gemini readings normally, but let's go through piece by piece and really start to build it out, because they're extremes of energy. That's the thing I'm picking up here, where this one is extremely firm and reliable. This one is on the move, on the go, like nonstop. So we're definitely going to want to peel back the cover. Position number one, the Nine of Pentacles. So we see this lovely lady. She's holding her pet bird. She is surrounded by all these pentacles. Normally, in the classical sense, this is a lovely card, a lovely energy. It's very solid, very stable. It's a card of blessings and abundance, wins and victories, something going your way. So leading off a reading with this is always an amazing thing. For a lot of Geminis, there could be something big coming in, and it could go your way. So we're going to definitely want to look at the implications of seeing this card. This is also a card of independence, saying, you know what, I'll do it on my own, or I'll do it by myself. It's solitary, if that makes sense. So if you're watching this for relationship things, don't get all freaked out about the solitary nature of the card. But when we get to the challenge of it, it's set in stone. Like this card, it's not budging, it's not moving. So in the challenging sense, it could be a situation where it's like, not much is really changing, not much is really happening. Either that, you might be dealing with a stubborn person, a stubborn situation, or even something you may have been dealing with for a long time when this card is here. So we'll see if it's a problem or a situation. I'm feeling initially like it's okay, but to me, it's just highlighting the extremes of energy. Like everything here feels very polarized, very extreme. Moving to the center, we do have the Queen of Swords, one of your power cards, right? And it doesn't matter male, female, anything in between, because these cards are engendered, right? Now, the Queen of Swords could just tell us something that's coming towards you or a way you might be feeling when we clarify it. Very simple. Could be another air sign you're connected to, so Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. But if that's not the case, I always say queens represent the internal aspects of their suit. The sword suit, very logical, very thought-based, a lot of analysis. It's extremely up in its brain. It could also be communication. So whenever we see her, we could think of planning, we could think of strategy, we could think of someone moving the chess pieces on the board and getting something in motion. So whether it's planning for the future, whether you're making them or whether someone else is, this is a highly strategic card. This card is no BS when it comes to communication. No nonsense. I'm not messing around. I'm not playing games. I always say this is a very much like game over type of energy. And we'll see when we clarify it if that's still sticking around. She's very serious. So she can often show up when either there's a serious situation or something you might need to take seriously. So we will look at her further. In her challenge, she could sometimes be a little too brash. Sometimes she could be a little too cold or disconnected emotionally. Like, all right, well, I don't care about your feelings. This is what it is. That's kind of what I'm getting here in front. Like, no, this is what it is. You can feel however you want about it. Now, onto the back end, we have the Chariot. This energy is moving. I always say the Chariot is the fastest of the whole entire tarot deck. It's right up there with the Tower. They're bumping heads with the power and speed at which they move. This could be a Cancerian, so you might be connected to a Cancer when this card is here, the water element. So whereas this one was very no nonsense, very logical, up in the mind, this one is much more emotional, and it's a little bit here, there, and everywhere. Now, when I see this, similar to the reading last week, it's explosive. It's on the move. It is not slowing down whatsoever. So it's like we have this extreme contrast in approach or extreme contrast in energy in general. This card is great for travel, for distance, for making things happen. But I always say this card can be confrontational, right? Because remember, chariots were made as instruments of war initially, not just transportation. So that's the challenge with this card. I mean, yes, it could be very determined as well. But whenever I see the chariot, I'm like, oh, okay, this energy is coming on pretty strong. So especially with the stuff we have up here in the front, the energy just feels intense. So I want to dive deeper on all of it. Let's jump in and clarify. Let's get a good shuffle here for my friends. Let's see what's happening. And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message. If means I just tell you how it feels to me, so feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on the Nine of Pentacles. And yes, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Gemini, you could drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, let's get that Nine of Pentacles going. Why is it here, please? What's that Nine of Pentacles here? Thank you. This is another thing I've been seeing for you. So now the karmic archetypes are showing up. We do have the World in the upright, which is generally a card of closing chapters, a chapter closing, which is something I saw for you at, I think, a couple weeks ago, where like one chapter's closing, another one's opening, where it's like, no, I'm okay with this. So there could be various things closing out that where you feel either you accept it or you're okay with it for one reason or another. Now, for a lot of you, you could really be in a time of transformation. When I see this, it is a highly karmic card as well. So this could be reassurance from Spirit saying, like, listen, Gemini, you will be okay. You got this. This is just temporary. So for some of you, there might be temporary issues or problems that you're going through where Spirit's like, you're going to be fine. So it's very reassuring and nice like that. But at the same time, the vibe I was getting earlier with this Queen of Swords and that up in the top, now we have the World showing up here. It's like, no, I'm shutting this down, shutting something down. There could also be a journey that you were very close to completing as well. So keep that in mind. There could either be a process or a journey or something you're going through where it's like, all right, almost there, not quite. We're almost there though. So we're just going to keep moving. Again, I really want to see what the Queen of Swords and the Chariot have to say, because this is a very solid, stable card. And it could be delaying too. So watch out for certain individuals like dragging their feet or delaying. That could be a big thing. Let's see what's up with the Queen of Swords. Let's see what she has to say. I mean, yeah, listen, my friends, we have the High Priestess in reverse underneath this Queen of Swords. Remember what I told you about the Queen of Swords. She is highly logical, straightforward, honest, to the point. And when we see a card like the High Priestess, usually shrouded, very secretive, in reverse underneath it, it's like, I'm getting to the bottom of this. So whether you're in investigation mode or someone connected to you, it's like, no, I will get to the bottom of this and I will figure this out. So there might be certain situations you're dealing with where you feel like there's more going on, or there's more for you to figure out, or more dots to connect. That could most definitely be the case. But the big thing I'm picking up with the High Priestess in reverse under the Queen of Swords is like the game over energy I was picking up, where it's like, no. If it's not straightforward, if it's not transparent, if it's not known by everyone, I'm not feeding into it. It's like such an interesting thing. Now, the High Priestess, she does have some good aspects. If you're connected to Pisces, I also give this to the other water signs personally in my style. She's intuitive, very emotional, but when she's in reverse underneath this Queen of Swords, it's very logical. I'm thinking about this, I'm cutting things away. So for a lot of Geminis, there could be various things, not just saying people, there could be behaviors, habits, you name it. It's like I'm trimming things away, I'm cutting things away. And it's also not messing around. So for a lot of Geminis in this time, you will be about your business. That's just the vibe it's giving me. You're going to be very straightforward about your business. Hopefully you're not hurting too many feelings. But I feel like for a lot of you, it wouldn't really affect you even if you did. All right, let me just keep going. Let's see what's up with the Chariot. So again, with the World here, shutting something down, this here, putting all the mystery to the side, especially with what we had here in the beginning with the Magician, it's definitely like, I'm not messing around, game over type of energy. So let's see what's up with the Chariot. What is up with the Chariot? Okay, listen, all right, this makes sense, and I feel like this is proceeding in a much better way. Okay, closing the door on this in the center, whatever it might be, opens the door for other things, if that makes sense. We have the Sun, the most positive card in the whole entire deck, and I did say, even though there's tension, even though there's intensity in the spread this week, there's a lot of positives, right? With the Nine of Pentacles, the World is usually good, the Chariot's usually pretty nice, and we have the Sun, the most positive card. What does the Sun do? It casts light on cards like the High Priestess. It casts light on cards like this Magician. So it's moving forward in a very blunt, honest fashion and way. So I feel like this is a really good energy we're picking up here on the back end. But the main vibe I'm picking up here is that once these energies close out, because these are multiple energies closing out, whether you do it or whether it's somebody else, that opens the door for other beautiful things. And I know that might sound cliche to some of you, but that's what Spirit's showing, right? For a lot of you, this could be a win coming in like shockingly quick. So it could be like a shocking win or victory. But it's like, all right, once we get through this, once all this stuff is done with, this might not be so savory in the front. That opens the door for all this beautiful positivity. And this is a card that's connected to source and a beautiful love and light type of energy. So I'm really loving what I'm seeing here as the result. I just feel like there's tense energy in the front. So let's go through and do a quick recap. Then we'll get into the shadow card because there's a lot of interesting opposing energies for you this week. But if you kindly look in the box before the shadow card, we have the Nine of Pentacles with the World in the upper. Like I said, there could be a chapter that's coming to a close. You might be going through a process or a change of some kind, and it's like almost there, close, not quite, but we're almost there. We're almost at the result we want, which is what we have here on the back end. I also said watch out for certain people like dragging their feet, delaying, yesing you, like, yeah, sure, yeah. Moving to the center, we have the Queen of Swords with the High Priestess in reverse, a card that's usually shrouded in mystery, so it is not messing around. For some Geminis, you might be really in detective mode about various things, like I need the facts. I need to get down to the bottom of something. It's like we're digging, we're trimming things away. Anything that's just not logically making sense, which is super intriguing to me. But again, it's given me that very straightforward about their business type of energy where it's like, I'm not messing around. Game over. The game is gone. The game is done. Moving to the back end, we have the Chariot with the Sun. So once these energies do close off, once this cycle, this metamorphosis, whatever we want to label this here in the front, once that energy exits, it opens the door for something even more positive with the Chariot and the Sun. And it's something that comes in shockingly quick. It's like, all right, well, yeah, look how quick that all came together. It's like, yeah, once I finally solved this, then all these beautiful things come rushing in. So I feel like, yeah, it could be a little bit of a cliche message that when one door opens, another one opens. One door closes, another one opens. But to me, it's like one door closes, four doors open, if that makes sense. So please take a screenshot if you want to look into it further. I think overall it's a very positive reading, aside from this tense energy in the front. But let's see what's in the shadows. Let's shuffle it up here. And you know, I always love to pull one shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be a good thing too. So let's get you one. And if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get this shadow card out here for you, especially with that Magician in the beginning and then the High Priestess. And we have the Devil in the shadows. So again, if you do have a certain intuition about you where you feel like there's more details, there's something you need to keep digging for, this card kind of proves you right. Now, the Devil, again, it could be something you've been dealing with for quite a while. This card represents a Capricorn you're connected to because of the goat symbolism. But mainly when I see it, it's a stuck type of energy. It doesn't move quickly. So whether it is a habit, whether it is a behavior, whether it is a toxic individual, this energy in the center is the cure for it, but there's more, okay? And that's one thing I want to say, especially if you're in investigative mode where you're gathering information. When I see the Devil in the shadows, that tells me that there's more to come, okay? So you take that however it fits for your situation. There might be more details or things that haven't been uncovered yet, okay? But I feel like the energy we saw in the main part of the reading definitely solves this eventually. That makes sense. So we're going to put that right there. Gemini, that's what I have for you this week, my friends. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details. February subscriber surprise. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can check out the availability and my digital calendar on my website, mastermetaphysics.com, so we could get a little forecast for the next few weeks for you. But for the February subscriber surprise, I'm giving away 3 copies of one of my favorite decks, the Tarot of the Owls. So if you'd like to get your name in for this, it's 2 simple things. As always, my friends, first, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments, if you could snap your fingers right now and wish for something, what would it be? It could be anything accept more wishes. You'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll talk to you soon.